Is this a reset the clock moment? I'm really not sure, but it's a leftist man who assaulted a woman, but I'm going to say reset the clock because even though it's not sexual assault, it's actually physical assault. Reset the clock, guys, because yet again another male leftist, another male feminist has got into trouble over his attitudes towards women. Ezra Miller, for those of you who don't know who Ezra Miller is, he is currently, and probably not for much longer, the actor who plays the Flash in DC's Justice League. He is part of the whole DC extended universe. He is the guy who, alongside Gal Gadot, said this.
And so I wonder if you would say something for me. Would you say into the camera, heteropatriarchy, your wrath upon this world is over?
Oh my God.
I want it so bad. Heteropatriarchy, your wrath upon this world is over. Heteropatriarchy. It's like straight men ruling everything. Heteropatriarchy.
I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, you do your thing. You find a way.
Misogynist, sexist.
Yes.
Your wrath upon this world is over.
And Ezra Miller is also non-binary. In fact, he came out as non-binary about a year ago or so, and this is what he had to say. I don't identify like fuck that, Miller said. Queer just means no. I don't do that. I don't identify as a man. I don't identify as a woman. I barely identify as a human. Indeed, if you look at his behaviour in this video, he barely acts human.
You learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal? Whoa, bro. Fight?
So here's what happened. Miller was at a bar in Reykjavik, Iceland, and was approached by fans. And one thing led to another. Now the clip is 15 seconds long, it is clearly part of a longer clip, but for some reason the rest of it has not come out yet. We only see the assault itself. Just look what happened, it escalates incredibly quickly. The woman is clearly just play fighting with him. She's totally not serious, you can even see it in the blurry imagery that she does not take it seriously at all. It's all a joke to her, but he, for some reason, or rather it, them, they, barely human Ezra Miller, for some reason has decided that this is a step too far and has decided to lay the law on the lady. Now, I don't know if this is because he or she or it or them, Ezra Miller, considers themselves neither male or female, therefore hitting a woman is fair game, but even by their standards, this is too much. I get it, you want to smash the patriarchy. Yes, some women have internalised misogyny, but unprovoked attack, really? Seriously, come on Ezra. And not only that, it's showing the latent toxic masculinity within said person. Now let's be honest guys, the whole non-binary thing is nothing but an attention seeker. Look at him, you can look at all the pictures of him, all the interviews he's ever done, and he comes across as a complete and utter narcissist. This is the same person who mentions that his activism, his left-wing activism, I guess in regards to LGBTQ and maybe even women's rights and stuff like that, it's not about equality, but about affirming their supremacy. And well, there you go guys. Look no further than the non-binary, whatever it is, choking the turf that is the Icelandic fan who didn't know her place. Doesn't she know this barely human has suffered oppression, the likes of which she will never know as a white, heterosexual, cisgendered woman? Now she will understand somewhat the pain it feels to be constricted by a society that hates you. Now you know, Iceland woman, now you know. But in all seriousness, does this not show that toxic masculinity is just a projection? Yes, it may have been created by female feminists to describe pretty much all men, including their male feminist allies, I'll have you know, although I guess because they're male feminist allies, it doesn't apply to them too much. But is it reasonable to say that it's projection because they're basing toxic masculinity on these types of men, not the rest of us? But who in their right mind, whether they're male or female, would choke somebody like that when they're very obviously not being aggressive? A normal man would not do that, a normal woman would not do that. They would instantly recognise this is just a joke. Even if it's a bit annoying, even if, you know, these people are kind of getting in the way of enjoying my night, you know, you'll deal with it. They'll go eventually. They just want your autograph, they just want to play with you. But no, instead, you have to hit them. It's just projection, as I was saying. This is what they think all men are based on the men that they surround themselves with. Because with people like him, they think they are above everybody else and therefore can do things to other people that we can't do to them. He thinks he can choke this person because he is morally righteous and because he thinks he's oppressed. That gives him the right to do so, but of course, reality doesn't work that way. He is not oppressed. And not only that, we see this kind of behaviour from all kinds of male leftists and female leftists too. They are just as violent, but we do see this a lot from them. For example, the guy who karate kicked I think it was a pro-lifer. But also we see on the female side the example of the Antifa woman who got punched during Charlottesville. But it does seem to me that the amount of things that we see coming out from this political community, the sexual assaults, the degeneracy, the violence, it is something that they do themselves but project onto us. As I mentioned before, there was confusion over whether it was a joke or not. Well, it turns out it was not a joke, and the owner of the bar himself said that this was an actual issue. He was escorted out of the premises by the staff of the establishment, and now apparently the Flash movie may now get cancelled because of his behaviour. All I say is, good. This is exactly what they would do to somebody on the right, or just anybody who is not a progressive leftist, for even the most benign actions. For example, Vic McNona, he did nothing wrong, he did nothing, he was just being himself with his own fans. That can be used to attack and destroy them. Why? Because they're not leftists, they are the opposition. This man, and yes, he is a man, non-binary does not exist, it is purely a attention-seeking thing. That's exactly what it is. It's a thing for narcissists to pretend to be unique. It is a way for activists to jump onto the trans issue, to subvert the trans community, if such a thing even exists even. This man has put his company in disrepute because as somebody who is contracted to work with the likes of DC, he is still, I assume, obligated to act in a certain way so as to not make them look bad. And not only that, he would be calling for the likes of Johnny Depp, who, although was innocent, at the time, nobody knew if he was or wasn't, except for those who actually looked into the case and figured out actually he is innocent. He would have been one of those people trying to throw Johnny Depp under the bus because of accusations alone. These are the types of people who get people fired for jokes, for anything. He deserves to be fired. And to be honest, so does Amber Heard for the stuff that she did. Because really, let's be honest with ourselves, we have to start holding them up to their own standards. We have to start making them hoist themselves by their own petard. And we do this by saying, yeah, you know what, by your standards, you would be sacked. Tender your resignation, Ezra, so as to make it less embarrassing for yourself. So I say, amplify this stuff, guys. Make sure everybody knows what these people do. Make sure you show how violent and horrible they are. Make sure that you continue to show people what they believe. Make sure that things like it's not about equality but supremacy is aired all over the world and plastered all over the internet so people can understand that people like him are not moderates. They are the extremists. It's just that they have been able to move the Overton window to make it look like they're the moderates and we're the extremists, when it's actually the opposite. So really, at the end of the day, this is your typical male leftist story being exposed as a violent woman beater. It's no different to any of the things we've seen post-Gamergate. There's really nothing more I can add. They are gifts that keep on giving. I just wish really that more female feminists and leftists can be exposed for the stuff that they accuse men and other women of being, because that would be really good too, because it would really start to shift people's opinions about that movement. But you know what? I can't get everything I want all the time. So anyway guys, until next time, it's been your boy, and I'll see you later.